Imagine waking up tomorrow in someone else's body. The voice is different, the posture is unfamiliar, and the way you reach for the toothbrush feels wrong. Yet, without thinking, the body keeps moving, brushing the same way, walking the same path to the kitchen, pouring the same brand of coffee. You didn't choose any of this. It's as if the body is running on a script you never wrote, but one you've been living by all along. Now here's the twist. You don't need to swap bodies for this to be true. You already live most of your life on autopilot, and that autopilot is your subconscious. If your mind were a computer, the subconscious would be the vast, invisible code running in the background. You rarely see it, but it shapes your thoughts, moods, and decisions more than you realize. Mindfulness and self-awareness are like gaining access to that hidden source code, not to erase it, but to understand, optimize, and when needed, rewrite it. Many people believe they are already self-aware, simply because they can name their emotions in the moment. I'm stressed, I'm angry, I'm happy. But true self-awareness digs deeper. It's not just identifying how you feel, but why you feel that way, what triggered it, and what unconscious patterns keep repeating in your life. This process begins with mindfulness, the deliberate act of paying attention to your present experience without judgment. When you observe your thoughts as they arise, you start to notice patterns. Maybe you always feel defensive when criticized, or anxious when plans change. These reactions might not make logical sense in the moment, because they aren't logical. They're subconscious reflexes built from past experiences. A mindful practice is like shining a flashlight into the shadowy corners of your mind. You begin to see the automatic scripts you've been running for years. Once you see them, you can question them. And questioning is the first crack in the armor of the subconscious, the moment where change becomes possible. Your subconscious doesn't just influence you, it steers you. It's the invisible hand that decides which social media post hooks your attention, which stranger feels trustworthy, or why a single word from a loved one can light a fuse inside you. You might think you are making all these choices in the moment, but in truth, much of your day is shaped by a vast web of learned habits, past memories, and emotional triggers quietly operating in the background. This is why mindfulness and self-awareness are not just nice skills. They're the keys to taking back the steering wheel. Mindfulness is the act of pausing long enough to watch your mind at work. Like a director reviewing raw footage, you see not only what's on the screen, but also the clumsy cuts, the old scripts, and the unspoken assumptions shaping the scene. Self-awareness takes it further. It's the ability to connect the dots between what you notice now and the patterns that have been quietly scripting your life for years. You'll discover that certain thoughts, emotions, and behaviors repeat with eerie precision. The same kind of person makes you nervous. The same type of situation makes you retreat. The same opportunity slips away because of a hesitation you can't explain. Until you see the pattern, you'll keep living it. The moment you start observing these cycles without judgment, something extraordinary happens. You create a gap between the trigger and your reaction. That gap is your doorway to change. As we continue, we'll train your attention like a muscle, sharpen your self-awareness like a blade, and show you how to step behind the curtain of your mind. Because once you can see the script, you can edit it. Close your eyes for a moment. Feel the weight of your body where it rests. Notice the subtle temperature of the air on your skin, the quiet hum of the world around you. Without trying to change anything, just watch. A thought pops up about what you'll eat later, or an email you forgot to answer. Another thought follows. They pass like clouds drifting across a wide blue sky. This is where your journey begins, in the space between noticing and reacting. Now imagine waking tomorrow in a stranger's life. You open their eyes and see unfamiliar hands resting on an unfamiliar bed. You reach for a toothbrush, but the angle, the pressure, the rhythm, all feel alien. Yet your body moves as if on command, following habits you never created. The truth is, this is already your life, just without the swap. Most of your daily actions, from the way you tie your shoes to the way you respond to criticism, are run by a hidden autopilot, your subconscious mind. It's not malicious, it's efficient. The subconscious collects data from every past experience, files it into patterns, and uses those patterns to predict what you should do next. It's why you can drive home without remembering half the journey, or why a certain tone in someone's voice makes your stomach twist before you've had time to think. But efficiency comes at a cost when the subconscious repeats old scripts that no longer serve you. That's where mindfulness and self-awareness step in. Mindfulness is not about emptying your mind. It's about becoming the quiet observer of your mind's movements. You watch the thought about being late, the flash of irritation when someone interrupts, the urge to check your phone, without immediately obeying or rejecting them. Self-awareness goes deeper. It connects the dots between the now and the then. You realize that your sudden defensiveness isn't about this conversation, but about that childhood memory. That your hesitation to speak up in meetings isn't about this job, but about an old fear of rejection. When you start seeing these threads, you begin to untangle them. And in that untangling, you find freedom. Try this now. For the next 60 seconds, pay attention to your breath without trying to change it. When a thought appears, and it will imagine it as a train passing by, you can watch it go, but you don't have to get on. When the minute ends, simply notice how you feel. This is the flashlight you'll carry into the shadowy corners of your subconscious. The more you shine it, the more clearly you'll see the automatic scripts running your life, and the more power you'll have to rewrite them. Awareness is the flashlight, but light alone doesn't change the room. It simply reveals what's been there all along. Now it's time to start moving the furniture. The moment you begin noticing your subconscious patterns, your brain does something remarkable. It becomes plastic. Neuroscientists call it neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself. And here's the secret most people miss. This rewiring happens fastest when your mind is alert, focused, and emotionally engaged. In other words, exactly when you're practicing mindfulness. This means you can do more than just see your patterns. You can actively reshape them. Think of it as editing the old script, line by line, until it matches the life you actually want to live. We'll start with 3 simple but powerful subconscious hacks. Pattern interrupts. Every automatic behavior has a trigger. If you can identify the trigger and deliberately break the flow, even with something small, you can weaken the pattern. Example: if you always grab your phone the second you wake up, put it in another room and replace that moment with a deep stretch or 2 minutes of breathing. The brain registers a change, and the old loop begins to dissolve. Anchoring emotions. Your subconscious links emotions to sensory cues. You can use this to your advantage by pairing a desired state, calm, focus, confidence, with a physical action, sound, or scent. Over time, simply repeating the cue can trigger the emotion on command. Mental rehearsal. Visualization isn't just positive thinking. Studies show that vividly imagining a new behavior activates many of the same neural pathways as actually doing it. Spend a few minutes daily rehearsing the new script in your mind, and your subconscious will begin to adopt it as reality. You don't need to force massive change overnight. The subconscious loves repetition, and it doesn't care if a change is big or small, only that it's consistent. A single intentional tweak repeated often will eventually overwrite years of autopilot. If your subconscious were a person, it wouldn't speak in sentences. It wouldn't understand logic, bullet points, or motivational speeches. It speaks in something far older, far more primal images, emotions, and sensations. This is why you can tell yourself, "I'm confident," 100 times, but still freeze up in front of an audience. Words alone rarely penetrate the subconscious, but if you feel the warm surge of confidence in your chest, see yourself moving with ease, hear your own steady voice, that message gets through instantly. Think of the subconscious as the part of your mind that responds to stories more than arguments, to symbols more than instructions. You can't simply talk it into change, you have to show it. Here are 3 keys to the subconscious language. 1. Sensory immersion. The more senses you involve, the stronger the message lands. If you want to train your subconscious to see yourself as healthy, don't just picture yourself at the gym. Feel the grip of the dumbbell, smell the faint tang of metal, hear the clank as you set it down. Make it so vivid, your brain can't tell the difference between imagining it and living it. 2. Emotional charge. The subconscious is a fast learner when emotions are high. That's why emotionally intense memories, good or bad, stick for years. Pair the habit you want to build with an emotion that makes it magnetic. Want to run every morning? Instead of focusing on discipline, connect it to a feeling of freedom. The wind on your face, the sun on your skin, the quiet streets before the world wakes. Symbolic reframing. The subconscious loves symbols. That's why rituals, ceremonies, and even personal tokens can be powerful triggers for change. If you're releasing an old belief, you might write it on paper and burn it. If you're stepping into a new chapter, you might wear a ring, bracelet, or color that symbolizes the shift. It's not superstition, it's psychological shorthand for your deeper mind. When you combine sensory detail, emotional energy, and symbolic meaning, You're no longer arguing with your subconscious. You're speaking its native language. Now let's try a quick exercise, the 2-minute mind movie. Close your eyes and picture the version of yourself you're becoming. Don't just see them, be them. Hear their voice, feel their posture, notice how the world responds to them. Fill in as many sensory details as you can. When you open your eyes, write down 3 words that describe how it felt. These words are your keys. Repeat them whenever you want to unlock that state again. Now, we'll explore how to program your subconscious using this language, layering and repetition, timing, and emotional reinforcement until the change becomes automatic. Overall, it is crucial to embed new beliefs and behaviors into the subconscious until they become automatic. These are the key points. Why repetition at the right emotional intensity is more powerful than willpower alone. The role of brainwave states, alpha and theta, in programming the mind. How timing, morning and before sleep, creates prime access to the subconscious. Layering visualizations with physical anchors for maximum effect. Now here is a practical exercise, the morning rewrite. 5-minute routine upon waking to install a chosen belief or habit before the day begins. This practice helps identify and dismantle limiting subconscious beliefs and self-sabotaging behaviors. Key points: spotting trigger response chains that keep old habits alive. The neuroscience of emotional memory. Why your brain clings to certain past experiences. How to safely reframe painful memories without suppressing them. Why forgiveness, of self or others, can be a neurological reset button. Practical exercise. The memory reframe, turning a past event from a source of pain into a source of strength using sensory and symbolic recoding. This practice shows how to maintain awareness and adaptability once new subconscious patterns are installed. Key points: the danger of slipping back into unconscious autopilot. Using micro-mindfulness moments throughout the day to check in with yourself. Adaptability is the ultimate subconscious skill, staying flexible when life throws curveballs. Building a self-sustaining loop. Awareness, adjustment, action, awareness. Practical exercise, the mind check alarm. Setting intentional reminders, physical or digital, to pause, breathe, and observe your current state for 30 seconds. Your mind is like a smartphone running an old operating system. It still works, mostly, but it's glitchy in places, slow in others, and constantly throwing up alerts you didn't ask for. You can try to fight it with sheer willpower, but that's like swiping away a pop-up without fixing the software behind it. The real solution? Install new code. Your conscious mind is like a bouncer at an exclusive club. It filters what gets in, but there are 2 moments every day when the bouncer steps away from the door. Just as you're waking up, before your to-do list hijacks your thoughts. Right before sleep, as your brain drifts into dream mode. In these windows, your brain shifts into alpha and theta wave states, relaxed, open, and highly impressionable. This is when you can slip new instructions directly into your subconscious without the usual resistance. Your subconscious doesn't care about facts, it cares about feeling. If you vividly imagine a future moment with enough emotional charge, your subconscious begins to treat it as if it's already real. That's why elite athletes visualize victory before stepping onto the field, and why stage performers mentally rehearse flawless shows before ever hitting the spotlight. To reprogram your subconscious effectively, combine these 3 layers. 1. Visual layer. See it in detail, as if watching a movie of your future self. Emotional layer. Feel the pride, relief, joy, or confidence you'd have if it were already true. 3. Physical layer. Anchor it in your body with a gesture, touch, or breath pattern that becomes a play button for that state. Now here is a very practical exercise, the morning rewrite. Upon waking, keep your eyes closed for a few moments. Choose one belief or habit you want to install. I speak with confidence in meetings. Visualize yourself already living it. See the room, hear your voice, watch the reactions around you. Feel the emotions as if it's happening now. Maybe your chest feels lighter, your voice steady. Anchor the state by pressing your thumb and forefinger together or taking a deep, slow inhale. Repeat daily until the response becomes automatic. Here's the truth most people never hear. Subconscious programming is less about force and more about consistency. A single session may spark change, but repetition is what wires it in. The more often you revisit the scene, the stronger the neural connection becomes until it's no longer something you're trying to do, but simply who you are. You can install the newest software in the world, but if the old malware is still running in the background, it will keep slowing everything down. The subconscious works the same way. You can feed it new beliefs and behaviors, but the old ones will keep competing for control until you dismantle them. The first step is to spot the loop. Here is the anatomy of a subconscious loop. Every loop has 3 parts. 1. Trigger, the spark. It could be a tone of voice, a smell, a certain look on someone's face. 2. Reaction, the automatic thought, feeling, or behavior that follows. 3. Reinforcement, the way the reaction feeds the belief that created it in the first place. For example, the trigger. Your boss asks to talk after the meeting. Reaction. Your stomach knots, and you rehearse defensive answers. Reinforcement. You think, I always get in trouble, which deepens your belief that authority figures are threats. Loops can run for decades without you realizing it. They're not logical. They're emotional reflexes your brain learned long ago and never updated. The subconscious stores emotional memories like safety instructions. Even if the danger is gone, the brain keeps the old reaction to prevent harm. It's not trying to hurt you. It's trying to protect you, using outdated data. Here's how to break a loop by updating the memory that powers it. Recall the original memory. Close your eyes and think of the earliest time you felt that same reaction. It might surprise you how far back it goes. Observe without reliving. Imagine you're watching the event on a movie screen. You are the audience, not the actor. Reframe the scene. Now change something. Give your younger self the words they couldn't find, a mentor who steps in, or even a humorous twist that diffuses the fear. Anchor the new version lock in the reframe by pairing it with a deep breath, a confident posture, or a word that signals safety. Your subconscious doesn't care whether an event is true in the literal sense. It cares about the emotional blueprint it carries forward. By rewriting the emotional imprint, you rewrite the loop. Here is a quick practice, the 30-second loop break. The next time you notice a trigger reaction in real life, pause. Name the emotion out loud or in your head. Take one slow breath while imagining a different possible outcome. Each interruption is like cutting one more thread from the old script. Do this enough times and the loop dissolves. Imagine a pilot taking off, setting the plane to autopilot, and then falling asleep for the rest of the flight. It works fine until a storm hits. That's what happens when you live entirely in your subconscious. Smooth sailing when life is predictable, chaos when it isn't. To truly master your mind, you need to live in what I call beta mode. Conscious awareness layered over subconscious efficiency. You let your subconscious handle the simple, automatic stuff. Walking, tying your shoes, brushing your teeth. But you remain awake enough to take the controls when the terrain changes. Think of your awareness as a dimmer switch, not an on-off button. Full brightness, deep conversations, problem-solving, decision-making, medium light. Routine tasks with light observation, like driving or cooking while noticing your thoughts. Low light, true autopilot, only for activities where no adaptation is needed. Your goal isn't to keep the brightness at max all day. That's exhausting. It's to adjust it intentionally, so you're awake when it matters most. Staying in beta mode doesn't require meditating for hours. It's about sprinkling short check-ins throughout your day. Here is another practical effect, the 3-AUG-3 method. 3 times a day, morning, midday, evening. 3 deep breaths each time. While breathing, ask yourself, what am I thinking? What am I feeling? What am I doing? This quick scan keeps you from sliding too far into unconscious loops. Life will keep throwing new challenges at you, and your subconscious will keep trying to match them with old responses. The most powerful thing you can train is adaptability. The willingness to notice, pause, and choose a fresh response instead of recycling an old one. To do this, ask one simple question whenever you hit resistance. Is this me or my old script talking? That pause is enough to shift you from automatic reaction to conscious choice. Also, you must know adaptability is the ultimate subconscious skill. Life will keep throwing new challenges at you, and your subconscious will keep trying to match them with old responses. The most powerful thing you can train is adaptability. The willingness to notice, pause, and choose a fresh response instead of recycling an old one. To do this, ask one simple question whenever you hit resistance. Is this me or my old script talking? That pause is enough to shift you from automatic reaction to conscious choice. Thigh is a practical exercise. The mind check alarm. Set a silent phone alarm or smartwatch reminder for 3 random times in your day. When it goes off, stop whatever you're doing for 30 seconds. Do a quick mental scan. Notice your posture, your breath, and your current thoughts. If they're misaligned with how you want to feel, adjust on the spot. Mastery isn't about erasing the subconscious. It's about partnering with it. Awareness is your pilot's seat. Programming is your flight plan. Adaptability is your storm strategy. Live in beta mode, and you'll never be asleep at the wheel of your own life again. You've seen behind the curtain now. You've learned to catch the old scripts in action, to speak the language of your subconscious, to install new code, and to dismantle the outdated loops that once ran your life without your permission. This isn't theory anymore, it's a toolkit. And a toolkit only changes your life if you pick it up and use it. Starting today, you have 2 choices. Drift back into the quiet comfort of autopilot, letting the same patterns write the same days. Step forward as the author of your own mind, shaping your reality, one intentional thought, one reframed memory, one conscious choice at a time. The subconscious doesn't change because you wish it to. It changes because you train it to. And every breath, every mental picture, every pattern interrupt you practice is a brick in the foundation of the life you're building. So here's your call to action. Pick one new belief you want to install. Pick one old loop you want to break. Commit to working them daily for the next 21 days. The next 21 days will pass no matter what you do. The only question is, will you be the same person at the end of them? You hold the flashlight, you hold the pen. The script is yours to write. Until next time, Universal Consciousness signing out.